It's Tyler Survivalpedia. It's early in the morning. It's that time pre-dawn, almost pre-dawn, where people would start to get up and make fires. So, I'm going to talk about a ferro rod. This is a ferro rod. It's ferrocerium and cesium. I think there's magnesium in it. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. Point is, a lot of people have these, but not everyone knows how to use them. So I'm going to show you how to use them, so stick with me. A lot of people buy these ferro rods, and smartly so. They, like this one's Havalis Bush Tool fire rod. I think Exotac makes it. I don't know. I have a bunch of these. Anyway, what they'll do is they will put petroleum jelly in cotton in the back, and there is your fire starter. So that is essentially your tinder. And then you'll turn the tinder into kindling, kindling into fuel, fuel into fire. The problem is you can run out of these things, or you can get those little Boy Scout ones in the store where it's just a ferro rod. And if all you have is a ferro rod and you don't have petroleum jelly or Vaseline in cotton, how do you make a fire? Well, the answer to that is complicated because it depends. In our area, we have a bush called red bark river birch. This is red bark river birch. In other areas up north, they have white river birch. You'll see a stand of quaking aspen with one tree that's extremely snow-colored white. That is the river birch. That is the birch, not the river birch. It's early, my brain's a little sleepy. So, the way that you identify the birch is by the little eyelets that it has on it. If you look closely, you can see these guys right here. They are a mechanism for the tree to exhale gases. I call them their breathing holes. So this is a live tree. If I'm going to take birch from this, I either want to peel this bark from this. I either want to peel this external stuff into piles, which works great. It's fairly time consuming. It will not hurt the tree. This stuff's coming off anyway. Or I want to find a dead limb like that. Someone got to that a long time ago. Just take a little strip or chunk of stuff right off the top, and that's what I use for my fire starter. Ideally, always, if you're trying to start fire, you're looking for the dead stuff. If you can't find dead stuff, just take a little square right out of the side of something like that, and then leave it alone so that it can grow. It will heal over. But all that I'm going to do, because this is obviously completely terminated chunk of dead wood right here, I'm going to try to strip this straight up. And this should peel right off. This bark kind of comes off like paper, or like a big sheet, and it's very resinous, and it's so cold right now that this kind of feels a little bit frozen, which is that resin inside the stick that I'm trying to access. Alright, I'd like a little more of this, but you get the point. Grab some sheets of bark and pull it off. Just make sure it's off something dead. So the key with this is basically just fuzzy up the back so that when you drop a spark on it, it will stick. And this internal bark, this cork type stuff, doesn't work so well. You really want to mess this stuff up. So what I'm going to try to do is fuzzy up some in here, and then fuzzy that entire piece on top of it, so that when I drop a spark, it'll grab it. Now, take these dudes off here, because these are the ones that have the actual resins I'm looking for. It's going to take a little bit of time. I'm basically peeling this straight stuff down a nice little pile. Now, a lot of times when I'm doing this, I just don't make enough of a pile, and I hit it with a spark, it burns out too quick and doesn't stick. So this is a minimum amount of shavings that you want to create, and essentially what you're doing is creating a lot of surface area. That way that surface area will grab onto your spark. If I can figure out where I stuck my ferro rod. The biggest fail with these ferro rods is people try to throw sparks at them. They just kind of like do this thing and they kind of shoot and they're going all over the place. If you want some accuracy, all you have to do is put your hand on the ground, use the spine, not the blade side of your knife, and then just grab it and pull. Now you can see I've already scraped this, I've used it a little bit. That's what a new scrape looks like. So oxidization is what causes that to go dark. So I'm going to scrape the oxidization off. I'll basically pull the ferro rod back and drop it in here. We've already got a little flame. And that's how you get it started. Let's try that again. Might take a couple tries, but that's a fairly reliable way to start fire with a ferro rod. The key reason is because there's a high amount of resin or oils in this birch bark. So if you can look at the smoke that's coming off it, which is black. Okay, there's a lot of other things that you can do to use in your area. Maybe you don't have birch. You can use the cambium layer of the internal bark of a lot of trees. You can use roots from others. The key takeaway is make it a fluff pile. Drop a spark on it. Don't randomly throw the sparks, but use control to drop the sparks exactly where you want it to be. And then you're good to go. Hopefully this is valuable to you. Go out and practice. Find out what works well in your area. Another note too, when you start to get the flame growing, make it crawl up the edge of the blade, right? Make it crawl up that edge right there, or an edge, and that'll help to take it from just a little flame to a bigger flame. Now obviously if I was going to make this into a fire, I should have created a fire lay first, but my goal for now is just to show you how to start the fire with a ferro rod. So if you have the fire lay and you're ready to make the fire big, crawl it up the edge of the bark, and then that's how you make it larger. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Go out and practice this. Don't start any forest fires. And let me know if you find material in your area that's special to your area that you discover that works really well with a ferro rod.